And I built it in my driveway, dude. It's like...
And you're hitting whoops in Barstow, and it's driving. What's up, guys? We're over here with Jake and Bake. Shake and Bake.
Shake and bake.
Yeah.
What? Shake and bake.
We're with the man himself, the man who crossed two worlds collided. You know, fusion food, where you hear about like Japanese food and Mexican food.
Today's challenge is Asian fusion.
Well, guess what? We got a 240 with an American motor with a different American motor maker's suspension. Jake's gonna take you guys on that journey, but before we do, who is the man behind the S14? That's the real question. Who is the man behind the 240? Before we even dive in, I'm just gonna say I've known Jake for so long. He's been in Terra Crew before we were Terra Crew, when we were like in the Dirt Alliance days.
It's been a very long time. You know, we've known each other for probably 10 or 12 years. And
yeah.
Started out with my Ranger. I have a Ford Ranger I built it the first go around as like a pre-runner. It was leaf sprung with a long travel kit in the front and, you know, cage, and basically just like a usable street truck. You know, it was stock motor, but it was, you know, plated still and just enough suspension to have fun, but not anything like what we do now.
The scene and off-roading has escalated.
Oh, it's changed a lot since I started, for sure.
Yeah.
Stop it. Get some help.
And that went to James welcoming me into Dirt Alliance years and years ago, and that was it was really cool because it was like my first foot through the door of like real truck stuff. And I made the mistake of going down Barstow, Maine with Austin Lessel and the Dirty Max, and that pretty much ruined me.
Dude, we have footage. We have footage from that.
Yes, yeah, I was here, and
Nelson was here.
Yeah, it was Darren.
So many
we
cool
had a bunch of
trucks.
people. Yeah, Darren. There's a clip of Frank, me, Darren, and Austin all going down Maine, but I'm like in the outside in the bushes where there's no whoops.
You're in the
like
flats.
all of us going together. So
Here we come, fellas. Hey, Mom, check out this clip.
I'm like, look, it's me and a bunch of race trucks. But it was like, you know, I didn't know what I was doing back then.
Dude,
so.
but it's awesome. And Barstow, Maine was absolutely horrible back then, too.
Dude, yeah, it's
worse now.
No, dude, it's like you could park a minivan in the middle of it and stand 100 feet behind it. You won't even see the roof of the car. It's ridiculous, dude.
So you have this Ranger, and this is not the Ranger. This is a 240. This is separate.
Completely different car. Yeah, totally different project, different car. This has no parts off my Ranger on it.
Okay.
I do get asked that a lot, like, oh, did you take your Ranger apart and use the parts on this? No. So the Ranger, I still have. It's kind of in the same boat as James. It's been in fab jail, but you know, it's kind of a joke that we all use.
They put you in jail right away. No trial, no nothing.
It's gone through a couple stages of where I asked the shop that has it to take a break from it, and then time where they needed me to, you know, they needed time to take a break from working on other people's stuff. And in the meantime,
and that's common.
When this was built. But
if you're not like a millionaire, right, or you don't have tons of money at your disposal, you have to have a good relationship with the fab shop. I'm super lucky to have had that with the shops that I've worked with, and especially Morgan. You know, hey Morgan, like I could work on the truck. Here's this. How much can we get done at this process? Okay, cool. Yo, slow down.
Give me a minute to breathe.
Let me recover from that.
Right.
Let me financially recover from that.
No shit.
And thank you and your homies for working so hard. Let's take a break. we'll talk about this again soon. It's common. It's a process.
That's totally how my truck has been.
And that's how your truck is right now.
Totally. And financially, too, it was a huge part for me because when I first took my truck apart like 6 years ago, and that was shortly after we did a lot of stuff, like kind of in the transition period from Dirt Alliance to Terra Crew, is kind of when I decided to, hey, let's fully build this thing and go all out. And when that happened, I was working a normal job, getting paid by the hour, and I didn't have the funds to do anything crazy all at once. And since then, a lot's changed. I've got my contractor's license, and I own a heating air conditioning business now. So we're in a different boat with finances to where I can afford to do these things.
And if you need your air or heater serviced, if you're in the Antelope Valley and you need your unit looked at, no, dude, on the real, we're all friends. Like, and that's the thing. Like, how much has your life changed in these 6 years?
Dude.
I mean, your contractor's license.
I got married. I got a kid. Life has changed entirely. Like when we did the Terra Crew or the Dirt Alliance video here, I was still living at home with my parents. So like in comparison, I mean, me and my wife have lived together for 6 years, and we've got a 9-month-old baby at home, which is an absolute blessing. It's been been a huge change in my life, which totally changes my drive on everything. But it's I can't wait until he's big enough to put him in something like this and just I mean, as long as I don't
motorsports family,
hard, but
motorsports family, and
totally,
and wifey loves this stuff too.
Oh yeah, we'll get into why this car is what it is, and she's got a 240 SX also with an LS. It's a drift car, and she drifts. So, she drifts. We used to both have show cars. We go to tuner shows and bagged wide body stance cars, and I still have a 350 Z2, and my background started in motocross racing, kind of transitioned into the off-road stuff with trucks, and then transitioned into what turned into this. So it was
great.
I went to King of the Hammers the first time, told myself I'd never miss it. When the truck went back to the shop, it was like, what can I find to drive around? And that was the first rendition of this, was like, it was a joke. We built it to be, I literally was
just to be different, huh?
Well, I wanted something. So King of the Hammers, if you haven't been there, I recommend to anybody, even if you're not even into off-road, you got to go once, because it's like, it's kind of like the Burning Man of the off-road industry, and it's like, there is the most incredible creativity in this valley during King of the Hammers, and every time I go, I just get blown away by things. So I was like, okay, let's think outside the box. What can I build that would be, unique and kind of turn heads, but like totally budget and be easy to do? So I had this shell because I originally bought it as a person's drift project car because I wanted the engine out of it. So I bought the whole car to get the engine. The engine got pulled and got sent to my truck, which has so much has happened since then. It's like, it's kind of ridiculous. It's like I bought this car for the motor, and I'm probably not even going to use the motor in it anymore.
We're in chapter 20. That was chapter 2.
That was it. So, one day I was kind of like, well, what do I do with this? And that was kind of at the same time I got home from Hammers, and I was like, what should we do? Like, let's try to lift it. Just do maybe strut tower spacers, a big spring, something to make it tall, and put a razor tire on it. And that was like the original idea. And I already had the swap kit, so Junkyard 5.3, bolted it in with all the parts that came with the car when I bought it, and it was like, let's just make this thing drive.
Oh shit.
We did, stock harness, stock ECU, just basically made it run. And then my dad and I made strut tower spacers. I took JIC Magic coilovers, or like really nice JDM coilovers. I took the springs off and put 2.0 King springs on it.
Wow.
And
you're like, just drive around.
I was like, let me make this thing tall.
And
that was like ground clearance, UTV tire, and it freaking ripped, dude. It was actually really fun. The suspension was terrible, but it had power. And it got me all over King of the Hammers.
Scooted you around, and people were like, hey, that's cool.
Oh, totally.
What's
and
that?
people, what the hell is that? And that's like the best reaction. Is like when people look at this and they're like, what is that? Like, we went to a car show, and an old man was like, is that a Mustang? I'm like, no.
What made you go to this next level? Because I mean, like, we just shock tuned this thing in Barstow today, and Jesus.
Kind of backtracking to the Ranger.
Right.
So when I first dropped it off, this is every guy that builds a truck, especially if you go the whole 9. It started out as, I'm going to bring it back half it, give it back to me with my ARM kit I already had, and just back half, link it, make it a little bit better. And then it was like, and you told me 5 years ago not to do this, but I decided to center mount it.
Okay, we are cooked.
And when you decide to center mount a truck, it's pretty much game over. That's what locks
I was
it in
like,
jail.
No, like the Darth Vader. And I was like, beam it for the win, be done.
I'm not listening to you.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want those things. But you know what? Hey, dude,
It's happening.
Look at where you are now with this thing,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, you did what you wanted to. You're following it. It's going to take longer. It is taking longer, but you're getting what you really want.
Right.
And you got to build this project as kind of like a side mission.
Yeah,
It's like a side mission, right?
Literally, that's exactly what it is. When I decided to go that extra step with the Ranger to where I knew it was going to be like, this is a many-year build. I knew it for financial reasons and also just because it, anybody knows fabrication in the off-road world, it takes a long time.
Yeah.
I knew it ahead of time, and I went into it with that open mind. So I've never been upset with how long things are taking. I'm just like,
the journey.
Yeah, exactly. And the work that Wide Open Customs is doing on the truck is incredible. And I've never had a problem with pricing and everything else.
Yeah, they do good work, dude.
Yeah, it's just it just takes time, and there's nothing wrong with that if you're okay with the the time frame. And obviously with this,
again,
meantime,
if you have
scratching the itch,
yeah, it's scratching the off-road itch. Yeah,
totally.
And what a way to scratch. This is bypass, coilover, this is beams, this is everything, man. I mean,
yeah,
sheesh, this is no joke. This is actually like a vehicle that works.
Working a hell of a lot better today thanks to Kevin. He killed it. So.
It's crazy, man. I mean, so like, although this might be like a middle ground of maybe what your Ranger was before and what his Ranger is going to be.
That's a perfect perfect description, because it completely destroys what my Ranger was, but when the Ranger's finished, it should outperform this by quite a bit.
How did it feel to be in your own linked vehicle going through those whoops?
It's pretty ridiculous, man. It's like,
I mean, they're big whoops, dude.
Yeah, we got into some deep stuff over by the wash, and the limit on this right now is the I-beams for sure, because when I had them do the beams, I asked them specifically to add some extra rake to get a lower ride height, and that was with still the mentality back when I started this with the idea of, hey, it's a car, let's try to make it low, let's make it somewhere in that middle ground. Yeah. And then when I got in it and realized that, like, okay, this thing's fully capable of doing what a built Ranger or a built truck can do, it kind of turned into like, okay, I guess that was a little bit of a mistake.
And according to Kevin, that's what he said.
He said, if I put different beams on this and a 37-inch tire, he said it'll do everything that the other boys' trucks did today. So it's it's
again, mind-blowing, dude. Mind-blowing. So cool.
It'll stay like this for a while. It's definitely need to enjoy it how it is right now, but new beams are in the future for sure.
Yeah.
And when I do that, I'll upgrade the front hubs, do some camber built, the billet hubs match the rear, and then add ram assist because the power steering's a little tight. But it'll just be like a small upgrade. It'll never be a full blown build again, because I mean it's everything it needs to be already.
And this is what I was telling Jake. I'm like, dude, just enjoy it. Don't cut the beams. Don't do this. At the end of the day, Jake's this is this is his baby. This is his money. This is what he wants to do. Do it.
Yeah, well,
you know, do it.
if it could be better, it's hard not to. And you know that.
I get it.
Truck,
it's
dude.
the part of, trust me, dude.
Right.
I'm like, hey guys, should we stop now? You know, like, maybe we should tone it down. But I guess
No way, man.
I don't want peace. I want problems, always.
Once you've gotten so far, so deep into the build abyss,
There's no turning
you know,
back.
yeah, there isn't. And you're like, well, I went this far.
Right.
Might as well. And like, there was
here's
even a
the thing,
point
though.
like 2 years ago with Morgan where I was like, I want 40s and I want 4.0s.
Yeah.
And that changed up a lot. You know,
Right.
so we can go into that another day. You can look at those episodes. But here we are, you know. The only reason why I say that with you is just because like I say, don't chop it up until you have your Ranger.
Yeah.
Can we do that at least, Jake? Maybe?
Leave me alone.
Look at him.
Probably not.
I don't know. I'm going to do what I want.
We'll see. I mean, maybe.
It's just
definitely
it's such
works.
a cool, like, for what it was able to do today, it was so cool. Seeing it eat up those whoops and jam through those sections, dude, it's sick. So you do you,
I mean,
man. You have fun. But
it works great. But I mean, ideally, if I did do different beams, it's going to be a short time down. You know,
Right.
hopefully reuse knuckles, you know, reuse heims, reuse mounting location for shocks. Just make a little wider, a little taller beam, and change the tie rods.
Yeah.
And then right back in the dirt. You know,
Hell
it
yeah.
shouldn't be like a full blown tear down. I'm not going to like strip it down and powder coat the chassis or anything crazy. I'm just going to just fix what is currently the problem.
Who are you
and
going to
then
have do the beams?
I'll have Wide Open Customs do them again because they
Okay.
built these. They built, so basically kind of getting into the car, I had the beams, the steering, and the motor mounts done by Wide Open Customs because I don't know enough about the geometry of beams or
Right.
the steering to do it. So I didn't want there to be problems. I said, let's leave it to them to do this. The rest of the chassis pretty much was my work. I did the back half. I added to the existing cage that was there from when I bought it as a drift shell.
Okay.
I used their links and their mounts, but I mounted them and put them on the car. I built the shock towers. I did
Awesome.
everything from that point and basically taught myself how to fabricate building this car. So
And that's what got it done.
oh, totally.
Straight up.
And doing it
Straight
myself, doing it at home. I'm working obviously full-time job. It was
Yeah.
like I was only doing it on the weekends at nighttime and stuff. And it was just enough to where like every time I did one more piece, I was like, this is so cool. I want to do more.
It's so rewarding.
Oh, totally. And it's like to go from
Not
a
knowing,
car
right? Yeah.
I literally cut the floor out. I cut the quarter panels off. I cut the back, trunk and the window out. And I'm looking at this like empty shell with the back half and just like a half B pillar. I'm like, what am I doing, dude? So I
You're just like, oh
started
God.
started by putting frame rails underneath, and I was like, I'm gonna look at photos on Instagram. I'm gonna talk to a couple of my friends that know about fabrication, kind of get a breakdown of like how should these tubes be laid out, what
Right.
makes sense, what's strong. I learned about push points and pull points, with how energy is dispersed through tubing if you're coming to a crash or roll. And I just started going, and it was like I was
Hell yeah.
masking tape where I wanted tubes and like visualizing it, and then just start bending and notching tubes. It's all built in my driveway, no jigs, no nothing. It's the car, I'm sure it's not square, but it's drives straight, and it's
It's going.
and I built it in my driveway, dude. It's like that's
And you're hitting whoops in Barstow, and it's driving. So that's.
the road out by the wash. It's 70.
Can we
65,
cut? I'm
70
gonna
miles an
cut to
hour.
like one floating shot of this thing. I think it's about that time. Let's dive into it.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Where do you
tell
want to
us-
start?
I mean, we kind of talked about the front, Wide Open Customs. Let's talk about these beams.
Yeah, so they're full custom fabricated beams. They've got custom uprights or knuckles, and then Dana 44 hubs. Those will eventually get upgraded too. Traditional double swing steer setup like what you'd see on a Ford Ranger. The biggest issue, which you can see all these dings and dents in the front, is because we had to mount the box so low to clear my radiator and everything because the front of the car is really short. So there's not like,
Right.
a Ranger is almost a foot taller than the front of this car, just from bumper to hood. So it got really
Interesting.
tight, and that was that's why we're having these issues with the front end plowing, which Kevin helped with a ton today. But that's again beam design, and that was my request, not something that they did wrong. I asked them to
This
do it
was your idea,
yeah. I wanted it to sit low, and I thought I didn't think that it'd be an issue, and it just it's not. For a lot of people, this wouldn't be a problem. The car works incredibly for what it is.
I mean,
And-
it's definitely getting a lot of attention online.
Oh, for sure.
I was talking about my buddy Julian. What's up, Julian? Man, maybe he'll see this. S Chassis is an awesome 240SX S13 page. It's a page that pays homage to like really awesome clean builds, drift
dude.
cars, original builds, custom builds. and they posted it and it got tons of engagement. Lots of people were stoked on it. And then some people were angry, like, how dare you? But I mean, you're always gonna get angry people like the purist, right? Like, don't touch it.
Right to jail, right away.
The worst part is that most people that have seen it thinks it's a Sylvia, an S15. And they're like, how could you ruin a Sylvia? Because, you know, Sylvias are very collectible.
They're rare,
It's not, dude. It's a left-hand drive USDM 240SX.
Calm your horses.
Was already cut up when I got it.
And
I just did a fiberglass Sylvia front end. It's not even a real, real parts. It's just, you know, the headlights were real. I will say that. I took the shells out and I hung the insides on my wall in the garage, and it's just the shell. So,
but it's cool. So it's cool. I mean, I think it's great. I think it's really great that Jake did this. Again, it was his project. He did it. It turned a lot of heads. I think it went probably beyond your expectations of what people.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, can we share who you just shot with?
Of course, yeah. I just shot with Larry Chen a couple days ago. You guys, by the time you're seeing this, that video should be live. So
absolutely
check it out there too. And it's really cool. I got to take a minute, and he was pretty blown away. He's been in a lot of S chassis before. Definitely nothing like this.
So for those of you that don't know, Larry Chen is the motorsports guy. He's known for working with Hoonigan, Ken Block. We got to work with Larry Chen. He brought photographers out from around the world, from like Forbes magazine, like Vanity, like all these like awesome, crazy LA Times, New York Times, and he surprised them and took them out to the desert, and we put them in pre-runners.
It was
pretty sick, and it blew their minds.
Yeah, totally.
He drove a hell track, ripping a Z, just diving, feint entering, like drifting, just like, he's a wheelman, bro. He can actually drive.
Totally.
Larry, you're awesome, man. You're a friend of the crew. Let's do some more cool stuff together.
Let's dive into the power plant.
Let's do it, dude.
This was, obviously I'm an LS guy. My wife's car has an LS in it. The Ranger's getting an LS. I just feel like it's hard to beat, the horsepower for dollar and the reliability there too. They're easy to work on. I'm familiar with them, and I couldn't go wrong with something I'm familiar with. Now, where I took the extra step was this big guy right here.
Whoa! He's got one of those big shiny things with a lot of tubes and curly coils coming out of it.
I felt like it would be cool to pay tribute to the JDM, world, and the fact that this is a JDM car, and put a turbo on it. And so we've got basically Gen 4 Iron Block 6.0 AFR heads. The engine the bottom end was built by Millennium Motorsports for 1,000 horsepower. The turbo is a Precision 7681. So it spools quick. It comes into boost about 3,300 RPMs. We tuned it very conservatively. We went for a overbuild, under tune approach with this. Motor, trans, rear end, everything's built for 1,000. And I tuned it at about 700 at the flywheel.
What trans is on this thing?
It is a Mike's Transmissions Turbo 400.
Okay.
And it's fully built, billet manual valve body, billet torque converter, all the good.
So you like almost like detuned.
Totally.
Yeah, like just for reliability.
Pressure. Put a boost controller in it. We were going to do a 10-pound tune, and I told him, like, dude, at wastegate pressure, which is 7 psi, when it comes into boost, it's undrivable. I mean, it like just blows the tires off, and in the sand it'd be a rocket.
Yeah.
But I barely ever go to the sand, so I was like, let's just leave it like this, keep it, quote, reliable, and hopefully last forever. It's like worst thing about building something like this is going out railing the crap out of it, and then having the motor pop, and it's like now you're down for how many months? It's
right. Forever.
It's literally. So I was like, one little thing at a time, and then let's keep it running. So following through the car, motor, trans, rear end. It's got a cambered 40 spline full float. Alec Navarro at Gear Pros did a 10-inch ring gear third member, so it's trophy truck parts in the rear end, or in the third.
Hell yeah.
Basically, I told him, I said, hey, what can I put in this that can handle 1,000 horsepower and I never have to rebuild? And he's like, you're not gonna like the price, dude, but trophy truck stuff. And I'm like, let's do it. Let's get it done.
And the reason why you do that is so because when it does break, you're gonna end up paying that price anyways when you replace it.
So it's like, why put a $1,800 9-inch in it when you can spend a little bit more money, and right after you just broke it, you're gonna spend that money anyways.
Right.
So yeah, that's rear end.
What lights are on these?
They're just basic LEDs off like Amazon. Nothing special. It's like,
this does the job. It works.
Yeah, and again, this car, as much as it doesn't look like it, compared to my Ford Ranger, this is totally my budget car in comparison. And maybe someday anybody wants to help me out.
Yeah.
Put some fancy lights on this thing.
Hey, yo, Juan, did the Drake vocals get here?
Everything's top secret.
I like that.
Just real quick, these front fenders, how?
All right, so this car has Ford Ranger 10-inch flat top bed sides and parts of the front fender. I wanted that kind of flat, big, wide look, almost like you'd see in like a stanced out street car or like a drift car. So I started with those. Basically, cut the whole front Ford Ranger headlight pocket out and cut the hood line off of it, and then cut the door line off of it, and was left with just the flare. And then I took a 240 S14.5, which is the S14 door, S15 headlight, regular fender, and then cut the outside off of that, riveted it all together, added a bunch of fiberglass to strengthen it, and then I completely formed the headlight pockets here with foam.
That's
and then
awesome.
Fiberglassed it, and then bondoed it, and sanded it all down, and then glassed it some more. And then,
Wow.
oh my God, it was like 2 weeks of fiberglass and bondo every night doing these to get them straight. And I tried to follow kind of the headlight shape, the body line of the Ranger fender, and then up into the A-pillar. So like I added a bunch of fiberglass here to kind of build this up to give it a body line here to sort of match the B-pillar. The lines aren't perfect.
No, dude, it's great, man.
I wanted it to look like it was supposed to be for the car, but I didn't want to take all the extra time to like make it so pretty. I didn't want to hurt it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I built this car to use it. And
Right.
I'm not going to let it sit and not get scratched. Like it's going to get
some racing stripes.
Look at the stuff we did today. That's just the beginning.
And you're building it to go faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Shock package.
So front is Fox 2.5 coilover and bypass, 3.2 bypasses. They're just shocks I bought used and had revalved and set up for the car. The rears are 2.5 coilover and 3.5 5.2 bypass, so a bigger shock in the back. Long story short, I acquired these. I thought I was gonna use them for the Ranger, sold them to a friend. He backed out of his build and I bought him back. So.
Oh wow! All right, you got a good amount of up treble in this thing, man.
Yeah. So the rear is set up pretty well. I based it off of a lot of trucks that I did a lot of research on. I talked to a few friends that have done fabrication and got some pointers basically before I started tubing the back half.
Okay.
And then just went for it.
So Wide Open did not build the back half. You did.
No. Yeah.
But
so
what about the trailing arms?
They did the trailing arms and the wishbone. They gave me their mounts, and then I hung them off the frame. I basically squared it all up and did the shock towers and did the whole back half myself. Yeah. So all the tube work.
Dude, that's amazing, bro.
Trunks. If you look here, these overlay plates I hand cut with a plasma torch.
Wow.
And it was like, dude, it was a mess, man. So it is one thing that I kind of want to cut out and redo now that I have a table and I can cut it and make it look really nice. But again, back to like what you said before, it's perfectly fine how it is.
Right, it works.
And it shows progression. It's kind of cool. So,
dude, I mean, look at how far you've come with all of this. You couldn't do this before.
No, not even.
I mean, look at
it. Like when I first had my truck, I didn't even know how to build a tube bumper.
Yeah.
And it's like now I've back half this car, And
dude, I mean, that's phenomenal, bro.
Too. Like here, they'll show you. This is something I just wanted to utilize the space. And the silt's got these things tight.
Silt? What silt?
This is trunk space that I put in here to clear still got it all clogged up, but I put it on, hydraulic shocks, and my batteries are in there now on a normal trip. Today was not really a normal trip, but on a normal trip I'll have a soft bag with tools, a tow strap, maybe a blanket if I need to get under the car and lay in the dirt, something to just storage, and it's just it's kind of cool. I made the bottom plate removable and I made the sides removable just so it can be worked and utilize the space. I've, like I said, learned enough about fabrication stuff during the process.
Spent time in the desert to know you need a place to put your stuff.
But also, it was dead space because, like I said, learning this, I knew I needed to get as much weight as far back as possible. So both spares and the fuel cell behind the axle to try to offset the weight at the front, and then it was just like a big void. So I was like, okay, what do I do with this? And utilize the space. So these are transmission coolers. The first go around, I just had one, and then when I had the new transmission built for this, he said I needed more. So these are actually both for the trans. It is bridge one through the other, and then loop back, and my transmission stays super cool. So it's more than enough now. The whole fuel package is in front of the cell. He's got a pre-filter, post-filter. There's an Aeromotive fuel regulator under there too, and it's all kind of hidden. But that's all tucked in between basically the trunk space in the front of the cell, right above where the third member comes in above.
So talking about the rear end, what is this thing again?
So Camberg, full float, 40 spline, 2.5 billet hubs, basically a Ranger rear end, 5 on 5.5 bolt pattern on the car, 10-inch ring gear, and basically fully built third member.
By Alec.
Should be bulletproof. Yeah. Axle pros.
Shout out our buddy Alec.
Absolutely crushes it. If you guys need your third members built, he's a great dude. Beautiful, man. I think it's time to dive inside.
Yeah.
So before we go, what's the front wheel travel right now?
It's about 17 or 18 inches of wheel travel in the front. I don't know exactly.
Okay.
I think it's in the 17 range. Bumped and strapped, and then the rear is 24 inches bumped and strapped.
It's a lot.
And yeah, it's a 48-inch link and then a 14/16.
Again, you've never had a linked car.
Technically, the Ranger was linked first. It just hasn't been done yet.
Right. Yeah, driving. So this is your. So was this your first experience, like on your own driving a linked?
Driven with links, yeah.
And how was that?
It's unbelievable. I mean,
is it what everybody talks about, like the night and day?
Coming from a leaf sprung truck, where like you have to check up for the back. You never check up for the back ever again. You check up for the front.
You're checking up for the front.
Totally. So it's completely the opposite. It's like my front end on my Ranger worked really well with what it was before. It was Culver bypass. It was super wide, so it had decent travel numbers. Always limited by the back. Never again do I ever see myself in the future being limited by the rear of this car or any other car. The links are,
it's a lot of travel for a shock tuner to play with.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, totally.
All right, man. Take us through the inside of this thing.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to say, which is what kind of blows everybody away as soon as they get in the car, is that the air intake in the filter is right by the passenger's feet.
Oh, wow.
So I put that down there to potentially, which today was disgusting with the silty powder, but I did that to potentially pick up the cleanest air possible, and it doubled without me even thinking about it. But it just puts the most ridiculous turbo sounds in the cab. It's unbelievable. It sounds like a simulator. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
it's like
you're like, how do I turn this volume down?
It's like what?
I'm in a race car.
Yeah. And it's like totally, and it's like all the fake turbo noises you hear, but right at your feet. It's ridiculous. So that's probably the coolest thing about the inside. Aside from that, I've added a lot of extra tubes to the cage just because it was originally built as a drift shell. So it has like these door bars were part of that cage. It had a halo, which I'm not a big fan of. So I added these vertical braces and ran them straight down and on top of the floor. So there's one on that side too. Goes through the floor and ties into the top of the frame. Just give it a little more vertical support because of how shallow this bend here is. And so I added that.
And you're a tall dude, and this is a 240. So, can you share your height?
Yeah, I'm 6'4". I cut the floor out of the car, and I mounted the seat brackets below the original floor.
Okay.
And it's actually the bottom of the shell is touching the top of the upper link mount, so it's as low as it can possibly go. And you can see where the door bar is here, obviously, or the roll bar. I mean,
yeah.
It's still too tight.
That being running off of 3 AAA batteries, Salt.
It's small for a big guy like me.
But when you're in it doesn't look any different. I mean, from the outside, it doesn't look like you're uncomfortable at all.
No.
From the outside perspective.
It's very comfortable. It feels almost like you're in like a lounge chair, like sitting on the beach, because it's like your feet are straight out in front of you instead of kind of down.
Yeah.
So that's unique for sure, and it's cool. It's a little hard to see over the hood because car sits nose high, obviously, and then being down so low, that's probably the only, I'd say, like
downside
negative point. Yeah. Other than that,
good for the desert, maybe hard in the dunes.
Hammond, seriously?
shit.
The dunes will be sketchy for
Yeah.
sure. You know, I'd want to like need a spotter on every razor.
Following somebody.
Right. Aside from that, NRG Prisma seats, very comfortable. I've been running their seats since the very first pair of seats in my Ranger, like 15 years ago.
Nice.
Been in everything we've owned ever since. Rugged air and radios in the car.
Heck yeah. Shout out to Rugged, man. Those guys have always been very kind to Terra Crew. Rugged's always supported our events and our ventures, and we've had meets at their shop up in Pismo. If you guys are ever in Pismo or SenCal, stop by, say what's up. They have a lot of cool stuff. Tell them we sent you.
Yes, for sure. And if you can, man, try to dig up an old clip of this car when we did that Pismo meet, because I had it there, if you remember that, and like, you know, just lifted and just
Let's do it. Heck yeah. And digital stuff?
Yeah, so Holley turn rear X system, digital dash. I've got some analog backups, so water temp, oil pressure, trans temp, the fuel gauge. I haven't put a sending unit in the cell yet, but those are backups. Obviously, the three main things we have on the dash as well. This is my, my control panel for engine components, and then this little toggle panel down here is for all of my lighting and my accessories. Just wanted to keep them separate. It's a little simpler. This guy comes with like a relayed like circuit board,
right.
So it's very easy to wire. It was nice for that aspect, and this is just a cheap one that was on another Amazon part.
Worked out.
Yep. So it works.
Amazon works.
That's all it needs to do. So I did. Let's see if I find it. I did interior lighting, which is starting to kind of get dark, so I can leave that on. Show how silky and dusty it is in here.
Yeah. That silt was no joke, man.
It was deep. Yeah, for sure. Custom built the dash myself. It's dash and center console's all aluminum paneling. It's not, it's not completely finished. It's at like an 80% stage right now. I still have some, self-tapping screws holding parts together. Those will get pulled out and we do nutserts and some button head screws, make it look kind of nice. But aside from that, it was, again, a lot of it was kind of rushed together to make it drive. I just wanted to get in the car and drive it. So
dude, it looks great, man. I think it looks phenomenal. I think you did a phenomenal job, dude. I've heard you say that, like, I feel like I rushed it, but dude, honestly, I think you did a great job. The car looks amazing. You tuned the shocks today with Kevin dialed shock prep. You guys did a great job. The car looked like it was eating up those whoops. We got some fire clips, dude.
It works good, man.
You learned a lot with it. You guys adjusted the height. That made a huge difference. And eating up some fat whoops, dude. And that is some brutal shit.
Well, I'll tell you what, we started the day calling it a shovel. Because
you're like, oh, God.
The front bumper and throwing rocks everywhere. And at the end of the day, we went down the same section at, 55 miles an hour. Again, it's still limited, but it's not by shock tuning, that's for sure. It's designed.
So I guess this is a good closing piece, but what are your plans with this thing? Like, where do you see yourself making some adjustments?
So again, I think the only thing that needs to be changed is the beams and the steering, and some mild upgrades with that.
Okay.
Aside from that, the car is everything I want it to be. It's my second toy. My Ranger is my pride and joy. That's what I want to be, the above and beyond. This is kind of it needs to be less than the Ranger. If it ends up being as good as the Ranger, it's gonna be like, okay, why did I even build it?
Yeah.
So
well,
I
think it's awesome.
Have a stopping point for sure.
Somebody already tried to hit you up for this thing.
Yeah, I got a DM from somebody in Dubai, and I'm like,
the Dubai dudes.
Yeah. 2 weeks.
You're like, bro, I just got it back.
Literally, it's been painted for 2 weeks, and I'm like, dude, I can't sell it. It's something that.
It's a special build, man.
It is. It's special to me. I built it myself. It's the first thing I've ever put this kind of time and effort into.
Yeah.
And I don't need the money, so it's kind of like, why get rid of something I tried so hard on and build?
The journey, bro.
For sure. Journey. And we had a little, like, my wife and I did a little clothing thing or like a brand for a while that was it was called Clash Collective, and our slogan was where automotive worlds collide.
Yeah.
And that was like, I did my off-road stuff, my wife drifted. At the time we still had show cars. It was like,
I love
kind of doing a little bit of everything, and this is literally the definition of that. It's like stancy street car mixed with pre-runner, and it's like, how can you mix the whole automotive world into one thing? And this is, in my eyes, is kind of what it is.
This is it.
So
that's wild. I love it, dude. I love it, man. Awesome job on the build.
Yeah, thank you for all the compliments.
No,
seriously.
dude, hey, I'm stoked on this thing. I hope you guys get a chance to see this thing in action, hopefully at maybe one of our upcoming events or expos, or if you guys are going to King of the Hammers. I think this might come out after Hammers, but hopefully you got a chance to see it there. So proud of my friend Jake for sticking with it, having a wild dream.
It's been a long time.
Having a wild dream and pursuing it and finishing it, dude. It's a lot of it's what we all hope to do, right? And with our crazy ass goals. This is a real life Hot Wheels, guys. It really is. This is like some stuff my kids would buy over here at Target, you know, and be like, buy this. I'm like, what is this? You know, a 240 pre-runner, you know. Also Hot Wheels, where you at?
Yeah,
like, where you at, dude? It's like, you know,
I want to take it to their
lean custom pins would be sick.
He's going to 2025. There will be a pin for this car, and if I can leave you guys with anything, kind of touching back on what James said about me starting this and actually getting it to the end and finishing it, dude, it's really hard to build a car like this, and it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of drive. If there's anybody out here that's got like a halfway done project that's like kind of losing heart, stick with it, man. Dive in. Take the
you're gonna regret
the extra step to like push and get it done, because when it's done and you're out here doing what we got to do today, man, it's this feeling is unbeatable. Like, I'm getting the goosebumps right now. I'm thinking about it. Like, dude, I can't
the destination.
wait for you to drive your truck, man. Like, it's gonna be fucking unreal. You're gonna have like, I swear, dude, I'm not even kidding. Like, I want to see you cry. I want to see tears, dude.
I just
the
might.
First day you drive this thing down Main, bro, I want to see tears. Like,
I'm stoked, dude. Yeah, man.
Unreal.
We honestly have some special plans for when we release that thing.
I can't wait to see it, dude. Yeah.
I don't want to take any attention away from this beautiful thing, but I absolutely, I'm stoked. We have some cool stuff. It's gonna be awesome. Stay tuned. Hope episode on my truck should be coming out really soon too.
Yes.
But yeah, other than that, like, Jake's right. Hit the nail on the head. Finish that project. Stick in there. Hang in there. He did it with this thing. He did it with the Z. Congrats with that.
Thank you. That's done too.
And the truck is in process. So good luck, man. Stay strong. You'll get it. He'll get it. He'll get that dang thing. Shout out to you and your wife for being such amazing people and being so supportive of Terra Crew. Darcy drove at one of our events. As you guys seen earlier in the episode, she could rip, dude. He's like, oh, she drifts, dude. No, she rips, bro. She'll freaking smoke all you fools. You guys are truly a power couple, and I'm so stoked for like how awesome. Like, I know your kid's gonna be next generation, dude. Our kids are gonna be ripping, dude. So hopefully your kids are too. Show them that you can finish that project, man. Hang in there. Good luck, guys. And we'll see you guys next time. If you guys have any questions for Jake on the car, on any questions about the build or something we may have missed in the build, please don't hesitate to comment. We'll do our best to comment or chime Jake in too.
Jump on, just find a random post on my Instagram page too and ask a question. I'm pretty good about responding on that as much as possible.
Well, thank you guys so much. If you guys like this, share it, like, subscribe, all that stuff, comment, and it helps us grow. Helps us keep doing all this crap. See you guys. Bye.
Later.